Hey guys, this is the Dark Passenger, and I'm just here to talk about it, about it chapter 2. Yeah, I finally saw this, and, in this one, 27 years have passed since the Losers Club first, encountered the, Pennywise. Most of you who have seen chapter one would remember that they kind of defeated Pennywise. In the end of that movie, he kind of went crawling back into his hole, and now it's been 27 years. The Losers Club is all grown up, and most of them have left Derry. They've moved away to other places in the country, except for Mike Hanlon, who stayed, and he still kind of remembers everything that went on when they were kids, but everybody else just went away and forgot. So in this one, it basically shows how Mike, played by Isaiah Mustafa, that's the guy who plays the adult Mike in this film. He's basically calling everyone else, and telling them that Pennywise has come back, to come home, so they could figure out how to defeat it once and for all, pretty much. The other cast members in this film, there's Jessica Chastain as Beverly Marsh, as adult Beverly. James McAvoy plays Bill Dembro, who's now a writer. It shows how he's, writing a script for this movie, but he's having a bit of trouble with it. So, he's become a writer, and, Beverly, she ended up married to this really abusive guy. And, Bill also married. Richie, he played by Bill Hader in this film, he ended up as a comedian. And Ben, as an architect, and he lost weight. He's played by Jay Ryan. I've never heard of him, or Isaiah Mustafa for that matter, but they did do a pretty good job playing their characters in this movie. And also, Bill Skarsgård, he returns as Pennywise. And this one, like I said, it's basically all about how they return to Derry to finally stop Pennywise once and for all. They band together to do that. And in this one, it looks like their bond is kind of stronger than ever. And this movie is definitely more intense and emotional than the first one. I mean, I wouldn't say it's scarier, but it's still, it's definitely more intense and emotional. You see the emotions building, the intensity building. I mean, I jumped out of my seat a few times, but not as much as when I went to see the first movie in theaters for the first time. This is definitely, it's more faithful to the second half of the book, I guess. I mean, I never, I was listening, I listened to some of the audiobook, some of the It audiobook. I never made it to the end, but there are some things in the book that that are in this movie. Like, there was this part in the book where these mean, rotten when teenage kids were bothering some gay guys, a couple of gay guys, and they ended up throwing one of them over a bridge, and Pennywise showed up and took the guy and killed him pretty much. And another spoiler, and I'm sorry for this. I know that a lot of people probably haven't seen this yet, because it only just came out in theaters. But anyone who's read the book would know anyway. There's a scene where Mike calls Stanley. He's played by Andy Bean in this movie. I mean, I haven't heard of him. I don't really know who he is, but you see him get the call from Mike, and he talks to him. He's told that Pennywise came back. Well, he kind of figures it out himself, actually, and then you see him go upstairs to the bathroom. He gets in the bath and ends up slitting his wrists. He kind of takes himself out of the mix, because he didn't want to end up dying by Pennywise's hand, I guess. And also I noticed that Pennywise isn't really shown as much as in the first one. Yeah, this is more focused on the Losers Club, I guess, and then their bond, after 27 years, how they reunite to fight Pennywise once again. But yeah, so it's mainly focused on them, I guess. Pennywise is kind of in the background when you think about it. But he's still shown quite a bit. Like, there's the scene in a hall of mirrors at the town festival. Bill finds out that some kid went in there, so he tries to help him. He tries to save him from Pennywise, and it turns out Pennywise, was also in that hall of mirrors. And this is shown in the trailer as well. There's Pennywise is in there. He's on all fours with his tongue hanging out like a dog, and then he basically breaks through the glass and gets the kid right in front of Bill. He kills the kid right in front of Bill. He sees it happen. And also there's another scene with this little girl at some baseball game, I think it is. And Pennywise, he comes out of the dark. He shows up. He starts talking to the girl. The girl tells him that he looks scary, and she starts to walk away, and he kind of plays on her emotions to lure her in, saying how people don't want to be friends with him because he's ugly and everything. But that was obvious. Yeah, it was just a trick to lure her in so he could get her. I mean, you still see him, quite a bit. Not as much as in the first movie, as I said, but still, his presence is felt in this movie still. And Bill, Bill Skarsgård really was a great choice for Pennywise. I mean, he's much better than Tim Curry in my opinion, much creepier. Although, this movie was more humorous in my opinion. I mean, Pennywise was more funny than scary in this one. and I'm not sure if I liked it better than the first one, but in terms of scares, but in terms of like intensity and emotions, it was definitely better. It was more structured as well. And also it showed like a couple of flashbacks from when they were kids. Things that weren't shown in chapter 1, like when there's a scene where Bill, as a kid, he goes on his knees in front of the sewer where Georgie died, and he's basically yelling out, asking why Pennywise took Georgie and why he did it, pretty much telling him to yelling out for Pennywise to say something, and then just as Bill is going away, you hear Pennywise's voice from the sewer saying that it was because he wasn't there. That was the only reason, just because he wasn't there to protect him, pretty much. And it was a pretty sad scene in chapter 1 in the beginning, when Georgie was dragged into the sewer by Pennywise. So this is basically the culmination of all those events, I guess you could say. And I'm not going to spoil the ending, because I know that a lot of people still haven't seen it yet. But there's another part in this that they put out a kind of teaser trailer for the movie at first, and it showed how Beverly went into the house of this old woman called Mrs. Kirsch. You see how that scene plays out in the movie. Obviously, she goes to the apartment. She thinks that the door still says Marsh when she knocks on it, but it turns out it was. And then this old woman answers, invites her in, when she finds out she was Alvin Marsh's daughter. So she basically invites her in, and then they start talking. She goes away, she makes some tea, then she comes back, she goes away again for some cookies, apparently, while Beverly looks around the living room, and there's some pictures up on the wall, and the old woman basically told her that her father came with $14 in his pocket to America and joined the circus. And then you see Pennywise in the photos as in human form, kind of. And that's when that old woman comes out of nowhere and kind of turns into this monster and comes at Beverly. And also, there's another pretty funny scene was when Pennywise is kind of sitting on top of the Paul Bunyan statue when Richie is sitting on a bench in the town square, I think it is. He's kind of sitting there, and Pennywise appears with obviously balloons in his hand, sitting on the shoulder of the Paul Bunyan statue, telling him that he wants Richie to play with him, that he missed him, all that sort of stuff. And he says that to the others later on in the movie as well, that for 27 years he's dreamt about them, craved them, missed them. And also, Henry Bowers, he returns in this movie. He plays a part in this. He tries to finish what he started by killing off the Losers Club, but that doesn't really go well for him because he ends up getting killed by Richie. So yeah, I would recommend this if you enjoyed chapter 1. It's definitely a good ending to the story. Definitely see it in theaters. It is worth it. I'm probably going to end up seeing it at least one last time in theaters. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, stay tuned for more reviews, updates, movie news, thoughts videos. Peace.